Could you talk a little bit about social media and how that informs your work, or how that allows you to reflect on your work?
Sure, and I think it's probably very apt that we do talk about it. I mean, when I started as a student, there was no social media as such. If you wanted to show your work, you had to really struggle to find a gallery. Then, maybe 100 people would see it if you were lucky. Now, as soon as I make a piece of work, and I'm sure it's the same for you, you can post it, you can choose to post it, and immediately you've got an audience. The difficulty for me comes where there is an awareness creeping in that you are constantly being watched, that your audience is always there. And you've got to be very careful then how much weight you put, you attribute, and how much power you attribute to social media. The comments that you get back from your work, from posting your work. We were sharing a story earlier, weren't we? And you've experienced it too, of posting a piece of work which is perhaps atypical of what you do. For me, in my case, it was an academic drawing, and getting hundreds and hundreds of likes, and then looking at it and thinking, wow, maybe I should be making more of this stuff, But sorry to advise, my advice is don't do that. Not unless you're really predisposed to making more of that work. Then it's great. People like it, you're into it, great. But if you're not into it, I think it's a really dangerous place to go. So social media is tricky. I think you've got to be very careful that it doesn't actually affect your output. And also, I sometimes find, and perhaps this is a bit of an annoying trait that I have, is that if I don't get a lot of likes or people are not engaging with a piece, I'll sometimes think, there's a grain of an idea there that's perhaps difficult to access, and maybe in that there is something to investigate, So don't be despondent. A lot of people will put out something out there, and if the likes don't come in, because I'm afraid that's the world we live in now, they'll think, that was a rubbish piece of work, I better take that off. I say leave it and see what happens. It's just another way of just seeing what's happening to the work, but don't use it to inform your practice. I think that would be a major mistake.
Do you feel there's a pressure there to have that constant? I'm sure if you attend things about it's building up a regular posting routine and things like that, and you talked about moving away from that work that's like almost feels 9 to 5 or non-escapable. Do you feel there's a pressure there from social media to keep that showing your work as well? I suppose especially with the studio practice, there's artists that I'll speak to and they say, 60% of my work never leaves the studio. But with social media now, let's see that 60% then. It's less controlled. Do you think there's a pressure there? Do you feel that pressure, maybe?
Sometimes, to be honest. Sometimes I feel there is a pressure. I mean, it's like everything else. I kind of have to reflect on what I'm doing. And it's not, I don't have any clear-cut sort of policies. I'm only going to post once a week, or this isn't good enough to post. As I say, sometimes I just put it out there. There's a way of getting almost like testing what's happening. It's like a little test. It also, for me, it makes me think about the piece in a different way. Once it's gone out there. For instance, there have been times when I've posted something and it's not been very popular. But one person will come back to me with a comment saying, wow, that's changed something about the way I look at things, or they will make a very positive comment, and it might be just one person. I kind of think maybe that is the didactic thing. Maybe that is the teacher putting stuff out. I don't know. But I don't have any clear answers. But I think there is a pressure on artists now to post, definitely. Which perhaps wasn't there some years ago, and it has changed our practice. It has changed the dynamic. But social media for me has been more good than bad. For selling work, for connecting with people, for putting out messages that are important and other people sort of connecting with me, for creating an international group. That would never have happened.
I suppose you see that kind of networking when people have lost families or things like that, as a way of connecting to people that previously wouldn't have been connected to.